Today, I thought we would just spend a couple of minutes looking at Elon Musk and how he handled failures and the many strategies that he had to deal with failures in the early days of SpaceX. In the book Liftoff by Eric Berger, he really goes into a lot of detail on the various ways that Musk would handle failures and how he would treat them. It really looked at them as learning lessons more than anything. And I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes here and just talk about some of the various ways in which he would handle failures so that he could keep his mission and his vision alive and keep things driving forward. So the first way was to treat failures as data, not as a defeat. So every time they had a failure with one of the rockets or there was a malfunction, Musk wanted to know every detail. And he was really determined to get down to the root cause to figure out what were the unknowns, what were the unexplains, and how do we fix it. And at the same time, he's pushing his engineers to find first principle solutions and just stripping the problems down to their most basic physics elements and then making and building answers on top of that. The next way he dealt with failures was to act immediately and iterate quickly. So Musk, he imposed tight turnarounds. Often when a failure occurred, he wanted to be given updates within 24 to 48 hours and propose fixes. He told his team to reach out to him at all hours of the day or night if they had questions or there was something that he could help with, because he believed that when you fail fast, you learn fast, and that gets you to your next iteration. Now, the third way here that he dealt with failure was to take full ownerships of the risk. For example, after a Falcon 1 failure, there were many investors that were kind of weary. They're like, I don't think this is really going to work. But Musk, he personally poured his remaining fortune that he had gotten from PayPal into the company and he risked everything. He took full ownership of all of the risk here. And this really allowed him to show that high level of confidence that gave his employees and potential partners that feeling that he was invested and that he was doing the right thing, that he was committed. And in return, that just gives them the confidence to be there as employees and as investors. Now, the fourth thing here was to frame the stakes as existential. Musk would often tell his team, if we fail, the dream of private spaceflight fails. So by tying the company's survival to something larger than themselves, he basically transformed that fear of failure into a motivation. Now, when you're coming to work every single day, you've got something to strive for, you have a big vision to follow. I think that was an extremely brilliant strategy by Musk, one that he still utilizes today, as we can see. Now, the fifth way, and this is probably my favorite, is leading by example in the trenches. Musk, he worked brutal hours and he expected the same of his teams. After failures, he would often join engineers on the factory floor. He would sleep in the office, helping to troubleshoot and figure things out. He was at their side with them in the trenches. And this commitment really helps the team after failures. They see that he's committed, and that lifts their spirits and allows them to keep driving things forward. Be in the trenches, my friend, with your teams. The sixth was the refusal to abandon the vision. He had gotten advice to shut Tesla or SpaceX down. He was critically low on cash for both. In Musk, he refused to do that. He says if you have two children, you can give all of the food to one child and they probably will survive and the other will die. And he just could not force himself to do that. He said he wanted both children to survive. Then he went out, dumped his own money into the company, and he found some additional investors. And then eventually he would win government contracts. But he refuses to abandon his mission and he doubles down and he shows his employees that he's going to refuse to quit. And that goes a long ways with building employee engagement and having them on board with your mission. And then the last lesson here today is to celebrate comebacks loudly. So after their fourth flight that successfully reached orbit, Musk would gather his team and he would deliver an emotional speech to them, thanking them for not giving up. Plus, in the book, it says they went out and they had quite a glorious celebration. After that, everyone was amped up and charged up and ready to go and keep things driving in the future. And that win just acts as a cultural anchor point for SpaceX. And it just proves that failures and learning from your failures and endurance can just turn things around and make it successful for your company. I think these are really valuable lessons that we can learn from Elon Musk here. They're simple yet deep lessons. We can learn each one of them. It's something that you can say, but you really need to take the action and embrace them. And when you do that, you're going to see tremendous results. I thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the mini podcast today. Possibly you would consider subscribing to me here on Substack, or if you have a friend or family member who you might think could benefit from this, possibly you would consider sharing it with them as well. Again, thanks for listening. Until next time, make it a beautiful day in the neighborhood, my friend.